Thanksgiving at Todd's Asylum Part 2. The crowning misadventure came next morning. F started for the village with his mind full of commissions from Aunt Tildy, some of which he was sure to forget, and in a great hurry lest he forget them all. He threw the harness hastily upon Dobbin, hitched him into the wagon which had stood out on the soft ground overnight, and with an eager "Get up, there!" gave him a slap with the reins. Next moment there was a ripping sound, and the heaven-born inventor came to the door just in time to see the horse going out of the yard on a run, with F following, still clinging to the reins, and taking strides much like those of Baron Munchausen's courier. "Here, here!" called the inventor, "you forgot the wagon. Come back, F. You forgot the wagon." "Jedediah Jodkins," said F, as he swung an eccentric curve about the gatepost, "do you, whoa. Suppose I'm such a, whoa, fool that I don't know that I'm not riding, whoa, in a, whoa, wagon?" And with this F vanished up street in the wake of the galloping horse, still clinging valiantly to the reins. "I believe he did forget that wagon," said the heaven-born inventor, "he's perfectly capable of it." But when he reached the barn he saw the trouble. The ground had frozen hard overnight, and the wagon wheels sunken in it were held as in a vice. F had started the horse suddenly, and the obedient animal had walked right out of the shafts, harness and all. A half-hour later F was back with Dobbin, unharmed but a trifle weary. It took an hour more in all Aunt Tildy's hot water to thaw out the wheels. And when it was done F was so confused that he drove to the village and back and forgot every one of his commissions. And in the midst of all this the clock stopped. That settled the matter for Aunt Tildy. She neglected the pudding, she forgot the pies, and she let the turkey bake in the overheated oven while she fretted about that clock. And when it was finally set going, after long and careful investigation by F, and frantic but successful attempts on the part of Aunt Tildy to keep the heaven-born inventor from ruining it forever, it was the dinner hour. Poor Aunt Tildy. That dinner was the crowning sorrow of her life. The vegetables were cooked to rags, the pies were charcoal shells, and the pudding had not been made. As for Miltiades, he was 10 times tougher than in life. And F's carving knife slipped from his form without making a dent. Aunt Tildy wept at this, and Fisherman Jones and the inventor looked blank enough. But there was no sorrow in the countenance of F. He cheered Aunt Tildy, and he cracked jokes that made even Fisherman Jones laugh. "Why, bless you," he said, "ever since I was a boy I've been looking for a chance to make a Thanksgiving dinner out of bread and milk. And now I've got it. Why, I wouldn't have missed this for anything." And there came a knock at the door. Even F looked a trifle blank at this. If it should be company. "Come in," he called. The door was pushed aside and a big, steaming platter entered. It was upheld by a small boy, who stammered diffidently, "My mother thought she wanted you to try some of her nith turkey." Well, said F, "Aunt Tildy has cooked a turkey for us today. And she's a main good cook." F did not appear to see the signs the heaven-born inventor was making to him. "But I've heard that your mother does things pretty well, too. We're greatly obliged." And F put the steaming platter on the table. "She can send the platter home tomorrow," stammered the boy, and stammering himself out, he ran into another. The other held high a big dish of plum pudding, from which a spicy aroma filled the room. Again the heaven-born inventor made signs to F. "Our folks told me to ask if you wouldn't try this plum pudding," said the newcomer. "They made an extra one, and the cousins we expected didn't come, so we can spare it just as well as not." It seemed as if F hesitated a moment, and the inventor's face became a panorama. Then he took the boy by the hand, and there was an odd shake in his voice as he said, "I'm greatly obliged to you. We all are. Something happened to our plum pudding, and we didn't have any. Tell your ma we send our thanks." There was a sound of voices greeting in the hallway, and 2 young girls entered, each laden with a basket. "Oh, Mr. Todd," they both said at once, "we couldn't wait to knock. We want you to try some of our Thanksgiving. It was Mother's birthday, and we cooked extra for that, and we've got so much. We can't get all ours onto the table. She'll feel real hurt if you don't." Somehow F couldn't say a word, but there was nothing the matter with the heaven-born inventor. His speech of delighted acceptance was such a good one that before he was half done the girls had loaded the table with good things, and, with smiles and nods and goodbyes, slipped out as rapidly and as gaily as they had come in. It was like a gust of wind from a summer garden. The table, but now so bare, fairly sagged and steamed with offerings of thanksgiving. Somehow the steam got into F's eyes and made them wet, till all he could do was to say whimsically, "There goes my last chance at a bread and milk Thanksgiving." But now Aunt Tildy had the floor, with her faded face all alight. "Todd," she said, "you needn't look so frustrated. It's nothing more than you deserve and not half so much either. Ain't you the kindest man yourself that ever lived? Ain't you always doing something for everybody, and helping every one of these neighbors in all sorts of ways? I'd like to know what the whole place would do without you. And now, just because they remember you on Thanksgiving Day, you look like—" The steam had got into Aunt Tildy's eyes now, and she sat down again just as there came another knock at the door, a timid sort of knock this time. The heaven-born inventor's face widened in beatified smiles of expectation at this, but F looked him sternly in the eye. "Jedediah Jodkins," he said, "if that is any more people bringing things to eat to this house, they'll have to go away. We can't have it. We've got enough here now to feed a boarding school." The heaven-born inventor sprang eagerly to his feet. "Don't you do it, F," he said, "don't you do it. I've just thought of the way to can it." A thinly clad man and woman stood at the door which F opened. Both looked pale and tired, and the woman shivered. "Can you tell me where I can get work?" asked the man, doggedly, "so that I can earn a little something to eat? We are not beggars." He flushed a little through his pallor. "But I have had no work lately, and we have eaten nothing since yesterday. We are looking—" The man stopped, and well he might, for F was dancing wildly about the two, and hustling them into the house. "Come in!" he shouted. "Come in! Come in! You're the folks we are waiting for. Eat? Why, goodness gracious! We've got so much to eat we don't know what to do with it." He had them in chairs in a moment and was piling steaming roast turkey on their plates. "There," he said, "don't you say another word till you have filled up on that. Folks," and he returned to the others, "here's two friends that have come to stay a week with us and help eat turkey. Fall to. This is going to be the pleasantest Thanksgiving we've had yet." And thus two new inmates were added to Todd's asylum.